Oh, there we go. Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Need an orthopedist? Go to Brock and Parrish Construction and Roofing. Of course, if you need a roof, we'd love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. Parrishbuilt.com, parrishbuilt.com. Parrish is pinned in the chat. And let me go ahead and get our little scroll here at the bottom. Boom, there it is. All the info you need to know about Brock, about Parrish, and of course, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. SEC baseball tournament gets underway on Tuesday, about 2 hours from this very moment as we're doing this live. It's 7:35 a.m. Central Time on Monday. And about 2 hours from this very time, LSU baseball will be on the field there at the Hoover Met, getting ready for the SEC tournament. So Tigers will play Georgia in the opener on Tuesday. We know that. Talked a bit about it yesterday, and we'll delve a little bit deeper into Georgia today. Not only here, but also on AFR later today, and all that good stuff. But if we'll lay out some of the scenarios here that'll come up. So LSU and Georgia, 9:30 a.m. I love that it's early. I know it stinks that it's 9:30 in the morning. A lot of people will be at work on a Tuesday and all that stuff. But the benefit of that is your start time, and your game is going to be finished because you're the first game of the day. So I haven't looked at weather yet for Hoover, which is in suburban Birmingham, but haven't looked at weather yet. But 9:30 in the morning, like, again, every game is the way that they have it kind of scheduled for TV is there's like 30-minute intervals after the game, but they schedule for like 3-hour windows. And of course, games are going to take longer than 3 hours, and you got the 30 minutes in between. So that last game of the day sometimes doesn't start until like 9-10 o'clock at night. So yes, I would rather play early than late because your start time. So LSU and Georgia, 9:30 in the morning. If LSU wins, they'll go on to play Kentucky in what would also be the first game on Wednesday. So even if you came up short against Kentucky that day, it's that's the double elimination portion. So if you win, you would play in the afternoon on Wednesday. If you lose, you'd play the first game again in the morning on Wednesday. So, but it all starts with playing Georgia. So LSU and Georgia, Bulldogs 39-14 on the season. Got an RPI of 6, like we've talked about. LSU has dominated this series all time, 72-27-3, and LSU's won 12 of the last 15 in the series against Georgia, including a 2-1 series win last year. LSU's got an all-time league best record in the SEC tournament. They've had a lot of success there. And they're playing really well right now. Georgia, of course, is coached by Wes Johnson, who was LSU's pitching coach a year ago. They're second in the SEC with a 3.017 batting average. They are ninth in the SEC in staff ERA at 5.58. So really good offensive team. Team on the bump. But we'll see how LSU can get going. LSU's 8th in batting average and 5th in team ERA, so a little more, and certainly have pitched better in the last month, which is fair to say. So we'll wait and see what Jay Johnson likes to do on the bump. If Gage jump will be ready to go, or if it'll be a whole staff approach, or what they may do. So we'll wait and find out. If I know something, I'll let you know. Okay, let's say some good mornings. You know the drill. Please smash the like button as always. Subscribe up to the channel. Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Trivia Carter, good morning. Wendell Norman, Bill Caffey, what's good? Brant Roban, morning, Matt. I don't know much about Georgia's team. Where does LSU have an advantage? So I think it's going to depend on the pitching matchups. So that is the thing where Georgia has kind of struggled this year because they don't have great starting pitching. And there is certainly the opportunity for, I think, for LSU to get going offensively in this game. I don't know how to try to handicap the advantage with Wes Johnson being at Georgia. Is it beneficial that Jay worked with Wes and so he knows pitch sequencing, all that sort of stuff? Is an advantage for Wes knowing Jay's tendencies, although they don't really put a lot of action on the bases or anything like that. But we talked a little bit about Georgia and their pitching staff yesterday, and they have really struggled on the weekend to find consistent starting pitching. Leighton Finley is their ace. Their ace. I mean, he's started all 14 games that he's appeared in. He's got a 4.18 ERA. He's thrown 64 and 2/3 innings pitched. Colton Smith is second in innings pitched, but he's only started twice. So how they kind of piece the thing together will be interesting from a Georgia perspective. So, they have not declared starting pitchers yet, as of yet. I guess we should get that word today. But I'm sure Jay will wait till the absolute last minute until he has to name a starter. But I think that's that's obviously going to be a key part of how tomorrow goes. Matt Plavidal, what's going on? Who's the greatest MLB player that signed with LSU but never made it to campus? Man, that's Chad Durbin. If you're looking at who had the best MLB career, I think Durbin would probably be a good. I mean, Chad pitched. How many years did Chad pitch? Chad Durbin pitched 14 big league seasons. Won a World Series with Philly in 2008. I mean, Kansas City, Cleveland, Arizona, Detroit, Philly, back to Cleveland, Atlanta, back to Philly. Probably Durbin. That's what I'd say. Oh man, any updates on Ocho? I'll hit him up again, man. And if I don't get him, I may have to ask RC to intervene. He hasn't replied to me. Tiger Diver, good morning. Kelly Gross, Brett Gidry. Can't wait to hear about Muso's Day. Yeah, got to do that today on the show. We got to make sure we do that. I hope it went well, sincerely. Charlie, what's up? Agam Morgan, Irfan Sayad, Bubba, Spurge, Matt. Can't wait for schools to be out. No traffic in my morning commute. That's true, Matt, as well. But also, I'll tell you, I can't wait for school to be out, so I don't have to. I bring Drew to school every day, so I'll fight that stuff, getting him there, and then racing the meetings at 9 and all that stuff. So I'm with you. Taylor, good morning. Michael Cook, good morning. Dalton, morning, Matty. Can I donate my UCLA tickets so you and Russ can get revenge on the Sissy Blue Bruins? So Russ and I did sit at the Rose Bowl together back in the opener in 2001 and watched LSU lose to UCLA, which is what he's referring to there, of course, when Ed Ogeron talked to a father and son and mentioned their Sissy Blue shirts. Anyway, it was that day in the Rose Bowl when they lost to UCLA, it was over. Like, you knew leaving the stadium that day, it was over. It was just a matter of time. Anyway. Tommy, good morning. Noah, good morning. Muso thinks we're in. I choose to believe him and maybe get my heart broken. Okay. If the committee takes 11 SEC teams, okay. But I don't know how you can put LSU in ahead of Vandy, Florida, and Alabama, all who have a better RPI and series wins over you. I mean, I've mentioned this to y'all before, and I do believe this is a real thing. J.R. Teagues, former coach and now AD at Southeastern, is the head of the baseball selection committee, and Jay Johnson hired J.R. Teagues' son as a sports staff member. So don't think it's inconsequential having a sympathetic figure in not only in that room but at the head of that committee. So, Darren James. All right, please smash the like button if you would. Thank you, Dalton. Appreciate that. Team Drew. Hunter Bam, good morning. Mark Allen jingle update. Spoke to Toby over the weekend. I think we got it. Now it's just a matter of him adding, like I mentioned yesterday, all the accoutrement to the jingle. But I think we got it. Lowell, good morning. Gary, good morning. Lane, here they have a pretty good bat on the Georgia squad. I mean, of course, everyone, if you're not familiar, Charlie Condon is who he's referring to as 35 homers hitting. Charlie Condon's hitting. Charlie Condon is hitting. .451 with 35 homers. That doesn't stink. Just walk him. Let's see. Cajun Country's Georgia locked up a national seed. That tends to help with these tournaments, gives LSU a better chance of winning. No. Look, Georgia's got the RPI at 6, but remember, they only have 17 league wins. And generally, that magic number to lock up a national seed in the conference is 20. So, especially when you consider, let's see. Shoot. A&M will be a national seed. Arkansas, Kentucky will all be in Tennessee. I mean, that's 4. I don't see a scenario where the SEC gets 5 national seeds. So if A&M, Arkansas, Kentucky, who are 1, 2, 3 in the RPI, and then Tennessee, who's 5 in the RPI and ranked, I think they're ranked number 1 in the country. But either way, those 4 are going to be national seeds. I don't know how. If Georgia wins the SEC tournament, maybe they can take one of those spots. But it's hard to imagine the SEC getting 5 national seeds. I think the most they've ever gotten is 4. I'll have to look at it, but I'm pretty sure the most a league has gotten, most national seeds a league has gotten is 4. I know the most regional host sites ever is the SEC, got 8 one year, got 8 host sites. I think it was last year, actually. Jesse, morning, back home after a week vacation. Just catch up. All right, Jesse, welcome back, man. Hope you had a great vacay. Noah, LSU struggled against teams with elite offenses. Struggled to keep up, no doubt. Let's see. Ray, good morning. Brent, good morning. I go on vacation. LSU sweeps an SEC series. Maybe I should have gone on vacation sooner, taking donations so I can go on more vacations during baseball season. Not a bad play, Brent. You know my feeling on the matter. And I know you're joking, but you being on vacation has nothing to do with LSU sweeping. But not if you can get people to give you money, the superstitious type to help you go on more vacations. By all means, my hat is off to you, sir. Lane, we fared well with A&M's offense. We had rested arms in the first 2 games. Listen, I think it's so hard. I know A&M last year went from Tuesday and made it all the way to the championship game. It's so hard to have to go from Tuesday to Sunday. College baseball teams aren't built to do that. So you would have to have just extraordinary circumstances to be able to advance from Tuesday all the way through Sunday. It's happened, but again, it's just not likely. And this LSU team with their pitching is not likely set up. You would probably need like a run rule type game where you only went 7. Like if you got what Gage Jump gave you against Missouri, if Gage Jump goes 7 and you run rule a team and he just knocks out one complete game and gives your whole staff a rest day, and you run and the offense is great and you run rule somebody, that gives you a shot. It's just not likely. And again, for me, I'm not so much looking at how does LSU go win this tournament. I'm more looking at this to say LSU's got to beat Georgia. Beat Georgia, get another quad 1 win over a top 10 RPI team, another SEC win. Hope that Bama and Vandy. Vandy plays Florida, so one of those teams is obviously going to lose. So you would conceivably leapfrog one of them, both of who have series wins over you. Bama plays South Carolina, pulling hard for South Carolina in that game as well. So that's kind of where we are tomorrow. Let's see, Joe. Morning, Matt. Do Jay will be able to put together a championship caliber team next year? Do you think? Joe, yeah, and I know that probably sounds silly, but think about year 1 to year 2. Year 1, they were they got into the field. It wasn't a great year, but they got into the field and traveled for a regional. Year 2, they win the national championship. Well, you went and got Tommy White, you got Paul Skeens, and that sort of accompanied a cast of really good veteran players that you already had. You maximized a guy like Ty Floyd, who kept getting better. I think because of the portal, you're always going to have that chance. And then what guys take a step? The disappointing thing this year, and I think this is where I know a lot of y'all have asked about Nate Yeske, and this is where I can tell you, man, like there's some rumblings about whether, like I've started to hear some whispers about whether or not Yeske's actually going to be back. And I don't know, by the way, I'm not telling you I know definitively one way or another, but as you start to look through that, and I know that a lot of people have pointed the finger at Yeske, and I think there's plenty of blame to go around for everybody. I look at, to your question, I look at like who got better. You could look a year ago and say Ty Floyd got better. Nate Atkinhausen came in and got better as the season went along. Griffin Herring in his freshman year kept getting better. I think you could look at that a year ago and see guys under Wes Johnson that got better. It's hard. Like Christian Little would probably be the guy this year, but I think everybody else you look at, I mean, even a guy like Luke Holman. I mean, Holman's been your ace. He's been your best guy. I don't think he's better this year than he was a year ago. And so I think there's that component of it, like who gets better next year. But because of the portal, there's always that chance, Joe, because you can in a year go add a Paul Skeens and a Tommy White, and then look how different your team is, right? And I'm not saying you're going to add Paul Skeens. I'm not saying there's another Paul Skeens out there. I just mean like a frontline starting pitcher. Jesse with 13 wins is LSU in the regionals. My contention, Jesse, is they are not. And I know we've had this conversation a ton, but again, the key component in this conversation is understanding that, like, it's not just LSU's resume. It's LSU's resume stacked against other teams in this year. And what we've always said is like 13 is that baseline because there's never been a team at 12 and 18 in the SEC to get in. So you had to get to 13, which they did. They got to 13. But just because you get to 13 doesn't mean you're going to get in. And so the challenge with LSU right now in the 11 seed is I don't think 11 SEC teams are getting in the field. And so when you look at all the teams that are tied at 13 and 17 in the conference, it's Florida, who has a better RPI and a series win over you. It's Vandy, who has a better RPI and a series win over you. It's Bama, who has a better RPI and a series win over you. And then LSU. So, like, all those teams should be in over LSU based on their head-to-head, and their metrics are better. So, like, it's devastating. But if you look back to the Bama, that gag job against Bama, like, you would solidly be in the field today if you had not blown that game, because you'd be at 14 wins. So you would be, instead of the 11 seed, you would be you'd be the 7 seed. I mean, that's the crazy part about it. So, and you'd be firmly in at 14 in the 7 seed in the SEC. But I believe they have to go beat Georgia. I think they got to go beat Georgia. And if they lose to Georgia, it would certainly help. If, one of Florida or Vandy, one of them is going to lose, obviously that's going to help. And you certainly want to pull for South Carolina to beat Alabama. All right, smash the like button, please. Hunter Broadhead, good morning. Cliff Nelson, morning. Uncle Scone coming live from ATL. Boarding my flight back home shortly. Fighting Jay Johnson showed a little bit of their mettle. No doubt, dude. They needed it and they went and got it. I mean, they're playing their best right now. That's fair to say. Is their best good enough? What is their best good enough to be? I don't know, but he's shortened the staff. He seems to have found his everyday lineup. They're playing with some confidence. They won 4 of 5 weekends. The only reason it wasn't 5 of 5 was the gag job on Friday against Bama. Yeah, they're playing their best. They've won 14 of their last 19 SEC games. Should have been 15 of 19, but yeah, they're playing well. James Avery, Jason Walker, Black Mama Ram. Morning, Matt. Hope it's not scorching temps this week in Hoover. Again, our boys may be used to that more than others. I think everybody's used to it. Coach O said that to a kid, my lord. Yeah, the sissy blue. It was a dad and like in his young boy up in at the overhang as the team was walking in. He said, "Come down with your sissy blue shirt." You don't remember that? It was a father and son. James McKinney, what up? My friend Michael, morning, Matt. Super excited for the big game tomorrow. Got off work. I'm excited to watch. Okay. Eric Wilderrider, morning. Ran to be curious if collective funds are earmarked for certain sports, i.e. we didn't spend money on DTs, so let's spend it on keeping herring, etc. No, good question. The answer to your question is no. There are donors who, what's been interesting, and this is part of that evolution guy. No, that was Eric. Is when the collective wasn't super organized, and they're getting there, right? But one of the things that was happening is coaches of individual sports were out tapping into their donor base for NIL for their sport. For example, when you walk into Alec Box Stadium, the Champions Club has 2 names on the Champions Club after the wives, who are big baseball fans, of 2 very prominent LSU baseball donors. If Jay Johnson needs something, he could go directly to them. There's a couple of very well-known basketball boosters. Gymnastics has a couple of people that Jay Clark can tap into. You know what I mean? So that's kind of part of it. But I mean, I can tell you, Haley Bryant, for example. How do I say this? So Haley Bryant, obviously, was coming back for another year. Well, she wanted to come back for another year, but all the scholarships already spoken for. So ultimately, what she wanted was basically make sure school, room, board, all that stuff was paid for. So the collective did a deal with Haley Bryant, which effectively pays for her school. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, all the money goes into a pot, but there are donors who can say, I want this specifically go to this, or if they need to fundraise for a specific thing. Okay, I got about 3 minutes left. Guy Brooks, morning, Matt. I believe LSU's on the bubble unless we win 2 games. I don't think they need 2. I think they need 1. They got to beat Georgia. Timothy, David, what up, folks? Beat Georgia. Hit the like button. Thank you, bro. Robert Potts, safe to say Wes Johnson is a pretty good head ball coach. He's done good in year 1. The odd thing is they haven't been a great pitching team at Georgia. They've been much better offensively. But I think Wes Johnson will do fine there for sure. Craig Digga, morning, Bo. Steve Menard, morning, Bo. Kenneth Polk, morning. Do you think we'll see staff changes in the offseason? Just kind of alluded to that. I mean, there's always the possibility that staff members from a really good program like LSU get plucked away. It was Josh Jordan part of that, maybe. And again, this weekend, for the first time, I started to hear like whispers about the possibility of Yeski moving on. And I think some of that is like, I don't know that Nate Yeski gets fired, but there could always be the possibility that somebody tries to hire him and then he's encouraged to go, sort of thing. Again, and I don't know. I'm not telling you anything. Please be very clear. I'm not telling you anything I know. It's just the first time this weekend I started to hear some of those whispers. And it's about that time, right? It's coaching carousel season because a lot of seasons came to an end this weekend. I know Jay Johnson wanted stability, right, on his pitch coach staff because Yeskie was the third pitching coach in as many years. And so he wanted stability. And in theory, you have that with Yeskie, but it was also a disappointing year. So do you maintain the status quo? It's a tough question. But I think there's, yes, to answer your question, I do think there's a possibility of staff changes. Yes, I do. Be it guys leaving for other jobs like we've seen each of the last 2 years. Just the natural turnover and evolution. Yes, I do think that's a possibility. I got 1 minute. Earl, even with the Tigers sweeping, having 13 SEC wins, there's only 38% teams normally get in the postseason. Let's not leave it to the NCAA, beat Georgia. Thomas, good morning. Been up all night once again with tachycardia. Oh my gosh. Heart in the 150s. Begin to think my meds aren't going to help this time. May end up at the VAR. Sorry to hear that, Thomas. Hey, Thomas, do me a favor, man. If you think of it, would you shoot me like an email or a message on my text line? You know the text line, 225-396-4400, 396-4400. I know, and I'm not playing doctor here. I know y'all have heard me talk about Gary Brecka the past several weeks, and I've started to implement those changes in my life for the last month. Had blood labs drawn, did my blood work, had my eval on Friday, and they said my blood work was perfect, and I'm a month in. And it's been a supplement protocol, some life changes like breath work, grounding, cold plunge. I've been doing a lot of that stuff over the last month, and I feel great. I'm down 8 pounds. I've ditched my daily Nexium. I've ditched daily Claritin. I'm not taking 5-hour energy anymore. Like, I've had some material changes in my life already in roughly half the amount of time that they recommend being on this protocol. Anyway, Thomas, there might just be some things that you could consider that maybe you haven't yet. Why not? Outside of just here's meds. I'm not saying medicine are bad. Like, I'm not saying medicines are bad, but it's 8:01. I got to go. It's 8:01, and I have to go get Drew, and somebody's called. I got to take the call. So, okay. Thanks so much for watching. Y'all have a great day. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parrish Construction Roofing. You need an orthopedic, go to Brock. You need a roof, give it a shot. Parrishbuilt.com. See y'all. Have a great day.